Welcome to Dungeon 1, Tael Cave. You should have no problem with this dungeon whatsoever.
Yeah, first dungeon is really easy. It's the learn about how dungeons work dungeon.
Pretty much.
Ah. Oh,
Here's something you need to learn about dungeons.
it's the final boss.
Every time it needs to tell you about the new feature.
This compass has a new feature. We're going to tell you about it every time you get one.
This compass has updated its privacy policy.
Yeah, right. So I think in this game, those bumper-type enemies are easier to kill. I feel like they fly farther when you hit them with your sword than they did in the Oracle games.
I was just about to say, I feel like that too.
So I guess what they did was make them harder in the future games.
How dare they?
So this game, primitive as it was, still does have some okay dungeon music in it. I think the Oracle series improved on that a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with Capcom, but this one's not so bad.
I can't think of anything that was quite as obnoxious as, like, the worst of the Oracle music.
Oh, right. So these enemies show up in quite a few dungeons, and the solution should be pretty obvious to you.
Yeah, just get them all the same symbol. It's not too bad, it's just a matter of timing.
So we get the stone beak, which allows the owl statues to give you hints. But they only work in the dungeon that you get the beak in.
The Moldorms return.
Yeah, time to hunt them. Reckless abandon.
And we see a cracked wall, but unfortunately we can't get bombs just yet.
Yeah, you have to come back to this dungeon if you want that.
And I think it's the only one.
Right. So in the last video, I don't think you mentioned anything about it, but in the grass, in the town, you picked up a seashell.
That's right.
So those are called secret seashells, and if you collect enough of them, something good will happen, or so they say.
And not to spoiler majorly, but there's a seashell behind that bottle wall.
Yeah, that's why I was saying something about it.
Yeah. So, a note about those, and the overall LP that I haven't mentioned. This is essentially 100% LP, in that I'm getting all the major collectibles, and a few other things. The Sacred Seashells, there are 26 of them in the whole game. You only need 20 of them to get the reward, though. And once you've gotten the reward, the rest of the seashells disappear. So, I'm essentially treating them like rupees. Once I get the 20, I'm getting the reward, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, there's really no reason to collect any of the others. In fact, they won't let you. I kind of like that they did that a little bit. It kind of made it not as much of a bullshit fetch quest because you had a little room for error. If you couldn't find one, it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I kind of wish more fetch questy type things did that.
That heart has wings.
And now so do we.
So I consider the Rock's Feather one of the really great items of the Game Boy Zelda games, and the fact that they give it to you first in this game just makes me love it even more.
I do like it a lot. It is a little funny to think that up until Breath of the Wild, even kind of Skyward Sword, Link not being able to jump, at least by the press of a button, is a central mechanic.
Right.
He's just so drunk he can't get off his feet. I'll find some way to tie it back into that name.
That name is going to become more prescient as we get through this island, I think. Yeah, fuck him. We don't need to fight him.
He doesn't need to die. I like this. The bosses in this game are called nightmares.
Ominous.
Now, I don't know if we saw it, but those bumper guys, and pretty much any enemy that falls into a bottomless pit, is dead for as long as you're in that room. If you come back in, they respawn.
Right, so this game's got mini-bosses too.
This guy's really easy.
Yeah.
You don't even need to wait for him to push the roller, just jump over and attack him.
Hey, stop jumping.
It's like an anglerfish Kirby. Or maybe like the weird screaming platypus from Bomberman.
Right. And so the boss door is immediately after the mini-boss.
Yeah,
Welcome to the short dungeon.
I thought that was weird.
Ew.
Oh, speaking of dark. Those are guys who had to fight the boss multiple times.
Those 3 giants.
Whoops. Thank you. Oh, it's
Hey.
the Moldorm.
So this guy comes back from Link to the Past. Link to the Past was released a year before this game, so... oh, yeah, right. And he's also stupidly easy as a boss.
I guess that makes up for him being so obnoxious, because if you do fall into the pit, the fight does reset.
So there wasn't enough time to talk about the fight, but all you do is hit his tail.
Yeah.
And if he knocks you down the edge, or over the edge, you fall down to that room. You have to start over. And you got a cello. Or was that a violin?
It was a cello.
That's right, the full moon cello.
If any better attuned classical musicians are watching, did it sound like a cello? Feel free to mention.
Yeah, it's a little high pitched for a cello. Oh, come on. We just heard from the disembodied voice where we need to go next.
It's really annoying. Just can't sleep with it.
Hoot indeed.
Indeed, hoot, indeed.
These kids are dancing in sync. They're very worked up.
This is the point where I wish I could speed up the text.
Yeah. Especially when they give you 2 full boxes of ellipses.
She screams, I go flying up the door again.
Moblins.
While the little baby one just chews on her hair.
Right. What is that a skeleton of?
I don't know.
Good job, you got nothing.
Hooray. You know what? Fuck BowWow, let's go fishing.
That's way more fun. The Fisherman's Brother is not in this game.
No.
So you want to go for the bottom left fish, I believe, is the good one.
The one right under me has a special prize. If you get any of them, you,
that's
you get rewards, but...
One of them has a piece o' heart.
It's probably not in the tiny ones.
Right, as any good fishing game in a Zelda game has. I think this is the first fishing game in a Zelda game.
I believe so.
Yeah, it is. And then Ocarina of Time was next. They liked it so much.
This one's a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, fishing in Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, which is worse?
It's been a long time since I did the Twilight Princess one. I feel like... Well, in Twilight Princess, the heart piece was just on a ledge. You just had to grab, and the rest of the fish you could completely ignore.
Right.
So maybe that one is easier.
Which was worse? Tell us in the comments.
I would ignore the little one. You need to press the button to reel it in, because he says you can aim it. I don't really know how.
I think that's kind of a lie. I don't think you can aim it. I love Link's sprite. when fishing.
Compared to a lot of Zeldas, this Link has a little bit of personality.
Yeah, his sprite is fun.
At least in small places, which I like.
There's also a feature of the color version that adds a little bit of that personality too that I hope you'll explore.
Oh, I will. That's one of the things I'm going to get all of.
Excellent.
Even a few secret ones. Bird ass.
Yeah, the bird is sitting on his face. Perfect. So this is Mr. Wright. He's part of the trading sequence. But he's also a sprite or a character from the SimCity game on Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I think I read that. God damn it. Vindicated.
While you're in these caves, you don't want to stand on the cracked floor too long. You will fall through.
Cartoonishly. Hello, hello, hello.
Right. One thing you can do though is, and if you're good at tricks, a lot of speedrunners do this, is you could do what's called edge walking, because your sprite doesn't quite fall immediately. And if you walk pixel perfect, you can actually walk along the borders of the holes, because they're all set on a grid.
I'm definitely not good enough at the game to do that.
No. Neither am I, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hey, we're almost there, full heart.
We're not far. There are 12 heart pieces in the game, so you can get 3 more containers with it.
A lot of them are really easy to get to. It's not terrible in this game.
There's no RNG-based heart pieces.
Right.
That I do like. This all the way through, even though I was getting annoyed with some things, I was glad there was nothing like the seeds or maple flying around.
Right. We're ransacking the Moblin hideout.
Murder, murder, murder.
Right, a whole 5 Moblins defends it. Our sword is phasing in front of us.
It's dropped it. I cannot hurt this guy until he opens himself up for me.
He's really getting you with those spears, too.
It seems like he can only shoot them horizontally.
Yeah, he won't shoot up or down. Yeah, once you learn the pattern, he's stupid easy.
Don't get caught below him, though. One problem with this top-down perspective and how it's angled is if you get below an enemy that's firing projectiles, there's BowWow, you can very easily get screwed over by the perspective, because you can get projectiles and fire them, but the enemies can sort of dodge them and what have you, but
right.
Any projectile that crosses over your sprite will hurt you.
BowWow eats the owl. Thank you. So having BowWow is kind of fun. He follows you around and he eats enemies for you, which is cool.
He'll eat every enemy.
Oh yeah, he's kind of like Dimitri, which is why I like him.
Yeah.
I miss Dimitri.
Need to go around.
He also eats those flowers in the swamp, which is how you progress.
Yeah. One thing I didn't show off, some of the secret seashells are buried underground, and I don't have the shovel yet, you need to buy it in the shop, but BowWow will actually tell you when you're above where you need to dig.
Kind of handy in that way. Hey, didn't you know this is heavy?
Eat it, BowWow. God damn it. I don't know, like, it can't eat your shield if it's not equipped, I don't think. At least it didn't.
I love that he was still defending you, even though you were clearly gone.
And I can eat those fish even when they're under the water.
All around, the best companion in this game.
And as soon as you enter the dungeon, he's gone, so...
So sad.
Don't forget this chest down here, though.
Yeah. There is a way to kill those flowers, but you don't get it till later.
Like the end of the game.
Bottle Grotto. Nah, we don't need it. Let's feed BowWow some more.
He needs his vegetables.
So BowWow just kind of eats things randomly, so if you wait long enough, he'll eventually get what you want him to get.
He'll eventually clear the screen.
If you're playing the black and white version, you can keep BowWow forever.
How do you do that?
You basically just map skip past the place where he leaves you, and then the event trigger doesn't flag that makes him go away, so you get to keep him. You can't beat the game that way, though, because, you do need that flag to trigger eventually. He doesn't eat bosses, though, sadly.
Well, he doesn't even go into the dungeon with you, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't go into dungeons. He's scared.
Poor little puppy.
Monster puppy.